Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and today is Friday, which means it's Book Review Friday, and boy do I have a book to talk about. We are talking about Dear Laura by Gemma Amor, and if you watched my latest book haul, you know that I was very excited to get this book. I thought it was going to be so amazing, and I'm not disappointed at all. Honestly, I really like this book. We'll talk about that in a minute. You know how I do it. Let's talk about the cover. I think this cover is so incredibly cool. I love the font choice for the title. I almost said the name, but I mean the name as well. The title and the name. I love the font. I think it's really cool. It's that marker smeared kind of font. I don't know, I really like it. I love the hand holding the tooth. I think that is so creepy. If you read the book, you know what the tooth means, and it's just, I don't know. Looking at it now, after reading it, the cover is actually more freaky than it was in the beginning. Just knowing the meaning of the tooth and knowing about the tooth and everything that happens with the tooth, it's just, it's freaky. But I also think it just looks really good. The hand is super well done. I don't know, I just really like the cover. I think the cover is really eye-catching and attractive, and I really like it. Okay, it's time for the synopsis part where I will tell you a little bit more about the book. This is a very short book, so the synopsis is gonna probably be pretty fast and pretty short because I don't want to go into too much detail, so I don't give too much away, because I want you guys to have surprises if you do read it for yourself. So this is probably going to be a quick synopsis. At age 13, Laura witnesses her best friend, 15-year-old Bobby, go missing. She watched him talk to a stranger in a strange van, and she watched him get in the van. And that was the last time she ever saw Bobby. Being the last person to see Bobby before he went missing really eats at Laura. If only she had stopped him. If only she had memorized the license plate. If only. It just continuously eats at this poor 13-year-old girl. Then she receives a letter on her 14th birthday. This letter is from a mysterious person that calls themselves X. X tells Laura that he has information about Bobby. He knows where Bobby is, and he'll tell Laura, but he requires something in return from her. Of course, he can't give Laura this information without building a trust first. At least that's what he tells her. What he wants from Laura isn't money or anything of monetary value. What he wants is something more personal. After this, starting with her 14th birthday, she receives a letter every year on her birthday. It always requires something from Laura, and in return, she gets a little bit of info about Bobby. X makes it clear that there will be no police involved, and he will know if she doesn't follow his rules. Okay, like I said, real short, sweet, and to the point. I really just don't want to give a lot of information about this book because I think it's a book that you really just have to read for yourself. Me just telling you about this book isn't going to do anything for you. You really have to read this book for yourself, because the way it's told, how the story unfolds, it's just something you have to do for yourself. You just have to be the one reading it, or else it just isn't as impactful. You won't get the emotions behind any of it, or the feelings, or any of the atmosphere that Gemma puts in there. You just have to read it for yourself, and I'm telling you that because this book is fantastic, and I really think that you should read this book. I'm telling you right now, it's amazing, but I just want you to know that it might not sound like anything as I'm telling you, but it's just because I can't put the emotion that's in that book in this video. I can't give you that. You have to experience it all for yourself. So if you watched my haul video, you know I bought this book because I was looking for books similar to Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach, which is probably one of my all-time favorite horror books, or just books in general. It's such an incredible book. And while I do find them to be similar. I find them to be very, very different as well, but in the best way possible. I love both of these books now, but for very different reasons. This book is just a little over 100 pages, but wow, does this pack a punch. Sometimes I don't expect a lot from little novellas because I think it's hard to put so much plot, detail, emotion into just 100 pages because it's such a short amount of time to make everything come together and be cohesive and make sense. But this book, man, you will think twice about novellas after reading this. It's just the same with Keelan Patrick Burke's little novellas that I read. He just knows how to make the plot and the detail and the story fit in those few pages, and she does the exact same thing in Dear Laura. It just made sense and it was cohesive in over 100 pages. From the very beginning, I was hooked. I needed to know if Laura was ever going to find out what happened to Bobby. I was very invested in the story. As soon as you learn a little piece of information while reading, you have to keep reading. You can't put this book down because you just need to know what's happening. It's so fast-paced, but that makes you just crave more information and more of the story as you keep reading. This book is definitely a different kind of horror. This is showing how humans can be evil and cruel, and it's really, really hard to read some of it. I mean, depending on what kind of horror you like, if you like the more monster, fake, zombie, that kind of stuff, then this might freak you out just a little bit more just because it's so close to real life. It's very, very realistic. This stuff does happen. Again though, I like that kind of thing. It's more scary and more frightening because you know that people out there are really like X. There are people that do exist like him out there in the world, and that's terrifying. The guilt that Laura endures throughout the entire book is so heartbreaking. Seeing her take on that guilt at 13 and she keeps it into adulthood, and it's just so sad. It's just sad. I don't know how else to explain it, but my heart just hurt. Even though it's a fake book, I know that. I know it's not real. This story is not real, but there are stories similar to this, and that's what breaks my heart, knowing that there are people that do feel like this in the real world at this moment. Some of the decisions that Laura makes throughout the book and throughout her life are kind of frustrating, but only because I can see myself making those same decisions and I don't want her to make them. Because I'm on the outside looking in, I can see what mistakes she's making and I want to help her, but of course I can't because I don't know what it would be like to be in that situation. And I think that's the hardest part, because if I do put myself in her position, I understand. I feel like I would also do exactly what she's doing because the situation is so awful. There's just no way to put it into words how awful it is. I mean, that's all I can really say. It's hard to grasp unless you know exactly what she's going through. So I think her decisions make a whole lot of sense. This book just had such an overwhelming sense of sadness and grief laced through each page. Each page is just more heartbreaking than the last page. And it's just so awful. I keep saying awful, but again, I don't know what else to say. It's just a horrible story, as in like the idea of the story, not the book itself. The book is fantastic. But the storyline is just so sad, and you can feel the sadness. Gemma does a great job at bringing atmosphere to the book, and it makes it feel very, very real, and I could feel every emotion that I think she was trying to portray, and that's amazing when an author can do that. It was creepy and disheartening to see X take advantage of such a young, heartbroken girl and know that there really wasn't going to be a full-on happy ending. You just knew when you were reading, you just knew the entire time that something was gonna happen, and you just knew that the ending wasn't going to be what you want it to be. And I think that's real life. I think a lot of us wish for happy endings in real life, and it just doesn't always happen. Although the ending wasn't a happy ending, I do think that the ending was satisfying. I did like the ending. I thought it was a good ending. I think that the ending gave you most of the answers that you were looking for, or at least most of the answers that I think realistically you'd get in this type of situation. And in the end, Laura got her closure, and I think that's all that really you could ask for in an ending for this type of story, at least. I think that's all we can ask for, is that the main character got the closure that she needed so badly. So the only thing I didn't like about this book, and this is just because I liked the book so much, that it ended way too soon for me. Like I said before, it's a little over 100 pages, and yes, it works great, and I think the amount is fine, but I just wanted so much more of the book. I just wanted to keep reading and keep uncovering and unearthing secrets and things that were happening. I just wanted to know more, and it just made me really sad that the book was over. Just like any book I really like, when I end the book, it's satisfying, but it's also so bittersweet because you don't want to finish that amazing book. You want to be able to keep reading it until you don't want to read it anymore, and that's how I felt about this book. I just needed more. And yes, I think the 100 pages is appropriate, but it didn't mean that I wasn't left feeling a little sad that it wasn't longer and I couldn't read more. This is the same with Pen Pal though. Books like these are fantastic. I enjoy these plots very much. I need more books like this. I need authors to come out with books similar to Dear Laura and Pen Pal. There's just something about these types of storylines that really capture me and get me hooked from the beginning, and I don't know why. I can't tell you. It's just that pen pal stalker sort of thing that I love. I don't know. That just shows how messed up I really am. But there's just something in those stories that really, really grip me, and I can't always find that feeling, but for some reason Dear Laura and Pen Pal really give me that feeling, and it's something that I want to keep looking for because it's just such a unique feeling while reading these books, and I can't always duplicate the feeling. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm sure some people really understand what I'm saying, and I'm sure some people do not, so I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel, and that's the best way I can explain it. So yeah, guys, that's my opinions, my thoughts, my little synopsis on Dear Laura by Gemma Amor. This book is so fantastic. I don't know how to explain it. It makes me long to read. It makes me feel the need to read it. I don't know, it just is like it's just a feeling inside of me. I don't really know how to explain it. But yeah, I highly, 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 highly recommend Dear Laura by Gemma Amor. This book is fantastic. It's very short, it's a very easy read, but it's just so incredible how much is packed into those 100 pages. I don't know how she did it. It's fantastic. You can tell she is an amazing author, at least in my opinion. I think she's an amazing author, and I will definitely be reading more by her because I love her writing style and I loved this book. So that's all I have to say on Dear Laura by Gemma Amor. Please let me know if you've read this book and let me know what you thought about this book in the comments down below. Of course, keep it nice. We all have different opinions on books, and I want to have a nice civil discussion if we have disagreeing opinions. We don't have to be mean to people who disagree on books. It's art, it's subjective. Everybody has a different opinion, and that is okay. So if you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you enjoy from me, and that way I can keep doing it for you guys. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We are so close to 800 subscribers, and I would really love to hit 800 soon. That is just insane. I do lots of things. I do makeup on here and book reviews and horror things, and I play episode, and it's all a mishmash of things, so hopefully everyone can find something that they like. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!